right. Who's ready for an angry rant? Not about the movie. The movie's great. Okay, but it does touch on some issues that for long-time viewers would know are a bit of a rage button for me. So, I'm gonna warn you right now, this review is gonna cover some uncomfortable topics. Topics I am surprisingly well experienced in multiple areas. And I'm going to rant a bit. So, full disclosure, if you don't want a serious discussion in this review, I'll give you a brief review of the movie. It's great. Go check it out. I think it's like going out of theaters this week, so by all means, check it out as soon as you can. It went a little more wider this week, so maybe, just track it down. Colossal. Anne Hathaway's in it. It's great. Very unique film. I'll talk a little bit about the film before I get into what I'm going to rant about, because it's important to discuss, it's important to get the context. So this movie stars Anne Hathaway, and if you haven't even heard of this movie, I'm not surprised. It's one of those, weird indie movies that kind of just showed up on... now, I've been keeping an eye on this movie for a while. As soon as it was as soon as it appeared at a film festival, it was getting pretty good praise. I read the concept, and... I thought it was creative, and I heard that it was being called this year's Swiss Army Man. Immediately, was like, all right, sold. When can I go see this movie? And like Swiss Army Man, it uses an absurd concept to drive home some valid points. It's not nearly as insane as Swiss Army Man, but it's really fascinating. It's fascinating how they do this. Granted, the metaphor is kind of obvious. Not too obvious, though. There's a few different directions you could take it. Basically, this is about... by the way, it has a great opener where it opens up in South Korea. And then the little girl looking for a doll in a park, she finds it, and then a giant monster appears, and then cut to black because it's 25 years later. Immediately I'm hooked. Just like, whoa, what the fuck? This happens 25 years? Or, wait, how did this happen? I'm really confused. How does this work? Instantly, it's like, okay, you have my attention, movie, well done. And then it cuts to Anne Hathaway's character, who is a mess. She's an alcoholic. She goes out drinking every night. She lives with her boyfriend, Tim, who is fed up with her shit and kicks her out. And that's when the title card comes in. It's just like, that's definitely one hell of an opener. Anyway, so Anne Hathaway has to move back to her old hometown in some, Midwestern town. They never really say exactly where it is. And while she's there, she runs into her old childhood friend, Jason Sudeikis, who, sorry, security guard in front of me, it's a bit distracting me, but, Jason Sudeikis, who runs a bar in town. And he's super nice to her, says oh, it's great to have you back. Oh, you're seeing back. Let me help you out. But there's something just a little off with him. And he offers her a job to work at his bar to help get her back on her feet. He's like, okay, that's a nice thing to do. But you can tell there's just something a little off about him. Now, granted, I had some heads up about the theme, some of the themes of this movie, so I saw where this was going, so, before I even saw the movie, so, this wasn't too shocking to me this happened. That being said, it does touch on a special segment of this topic that I don't see too much in movies these days. Most of the time it's usually, in one dark extreme or the other. But it's worth talking about, because, oh my god, I knew what I was getting into, and I'm still fucking mad. In a good way, it was something the movie was clearly trying to do. And it's done fairly realistically. But basically, long story short, while she's on, drinking one night, one morning, I guess, she wakes up and finds out there's this giant kaiju in South Korea that's just kind of ambling around, destroying the place, and then she realizes that it's actually her controlling the monster whenever she walks past a certain park. Yeah, she's like, she walks through park, and whatever she does in this park around this time is what the monster does around South Korea. Again, it's a unique concept. So naturally, she goes through like all the phases you think about it, like testing it, seeing if it works, and making realizes like, oh shit, this is actually happening. And then like, hey, this is kind of cool. And she starts kind of dicking around until she trips and falls and kills hundreds of people. But at the same time, she brings Jason Sudeikis and his, like, friends along, and, like, she's like, dude, you guys gotta fucking see this, hold my beer, check this shit out. And, so she shows it, and then, well, this Jason Sudeikis walks out there, too. It's a bit spoiler territory, by the way. And he realized that, oh yeah, he appears as a monster when he walks through his park, too, as a giant robot. And that's, like, when the movie dramatically shifts tone. Because it turns out Jason Sudeikis' character in this movie is a quote-unquote nice guy. Now, let me dive into this fucking pile of eggshells, because there's a lot to unpack here. Now, first up, before this happens, you like, obviously the monster's like a metaphor for something. You can argue it's a metaphor for self-destructive tendencies, or alcoholism, or both. Or like how self-destructive tendencies can destroy everyone around you, in this case literally, or figuratively, I guess they're not technically all around you at that time. But then it shifts gears, and then it really turns into, yeah, really all about the dangers of the nice guy. Now, let me describe what the nice guy is for those who don't know, or for those who do know, and just to clarify my particular definition of a nice guy. A nice guy is a guy who pretends to be your friend, especially in like case of male-female, I see this a lot, where they pretend to be your friend, and they do nice things for you, and they act nice, but they're really trying to control you slowly but surely until you stop either living the lifestyle that they want you to live, or kind of start realizing what they're doing. And that's when, like, the whole personality shifts. It becomes a lot more aggressive, a lot more active, aggressive attempts to control the other person. Now, here's the thing about nice guys. Nice guys make the rest of us look bad, because, like, there are genuinely good people out there that go out of their way to help others in a way, but the problem is, like, there's people like this, like Jason Sudeikis' character, and I'm gonna give, I don't want to give too many real life examples here, but long story short, there are people like this that make people paranoid about everyone's actions, because they always think there's an ulterior motive. Not everyone is like that, obviously, but the problem is, they have to be cautious, and you should be. People like this fucking exist. Okay, so this is where I have to go into a bit of a rant mode about this. So here's the thing about this. Now, this is another form of abuse, and now abuse is something I've talked on the show quite often. It is a subject I am fairly well versed in. I have known and talked through several people I love and care about who have either gone through this, are still in this, or have been through it before. Like, I've lost count of how many times I've had to tell people I care about, one of which no longer talks to me because of it, who I said, this guy is a danger, you need to get out. Completely ignored. And it's insanely frustrating. Now, even though it's like, I almost fell into this trap myself. Luckily, I got out of it before it got too extreme. But it almost happened to me, too. It's easy to slip into, and it's hard to get out of it. Now, here's the thing about nice guys. Nice guys believe, at their core, that because they are nice, because they are doing good things to people, that they are owed affection. They are owed the other person's interest. And that pisses me off to no fucking end. And again, this is well demonstrated in this movie, because early on, like, again, he seems like a nice guy, seems like doing nice things, but they're just little red flags. There's little red, well, like, not so little. Like early on, when the Anna Hathaway is drinking with Jason Sudeikis and his buddies at his bar after hours, and there's this one guy who Anna Hathaway's kind of cute, she's kind of flirting with him, and then The guy, at one point, kind of goes in for a kiss, and Anna Hathaway kind of goes like, whoa, don't do that. The guy immediately stops, apologizes, makes it clear that he is not going to go through without her consent. It's over. And then Jason Sudeikis comes like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck is wrong with you? Do I need to beat you up? Are you okay? Are you okay? Is everything okay here? And it's like, yeah, it's fine. Nothing happened. We're okay. And it's like, okay. Cool. And then he goes back to being the nice guy. That is like, I've seen this. Or like, okay, maybe not, like, I've seen or heard accounts of this fucking happening. And it's, yeah, these people are fucking real. And here's the thing. Here's what part that really disturbs me at a personal level is I know people like this. I called some of them friends at one point. I have seen people that were the nice guy who did everything nice for the other person and then got angry and aggressive when they were rejected. I fucking seen this. I have held crying friends who lost people they cared about because of this. Like, this shit is real. And like, even if you have giant monsters try to like cartoon it up, it doesn't change how fucking disturbing and infuriating these people are. And it's almost kind of a good thing I saw this movie by myself, because I don't know many others in the group that can really talk about this as much as I can. Or at least I feel comfortable talking about this with, because it's not an easy topic to talk about. It almost feels better than I'm talking to myself going about this. And the fact that I have that personal experience where I've seen people who've responded not quite as bad as the way Jason Sudeikis goes in this movie. He becomes like full Bond villain by the time the movie's over. But I've seen it come close. Because in this one, especially when Jason Sudeikis, his character in this movie, obviously Jason Sudeikis' character is the bad guy in this movie, if you haven't figured it out by now. Because there is a point where Anne Hathaway sleeps with the cute guy, and Jason Sudeikis finds out, and that's like when that switch in his brain just fucking goes, and he just becomes this boy who has been repressed and feeling small for his entire life, fueled on jealousy, starts taking out on her and starts actively trying to control her, saying like, and she's trying to fight back, but he's pulling cards like, if you don't, like, I quit. I don't want to be seen with you or your shitty bars. Like, if you don't come back here, I'll just smash some more neighborhoods around here. And like, it becomes a more active, aggressive form of control because his nice guy methods aren't working, or they've been rejected. So they resort to other methods. And surprise, surprise, they push back, and then they get angrier, and the cycle continues until it's essentially it's emotional blackmail. It's blackmail. Now, granted, I don't know if it gets as extreme as Jason Sudeikis' character's getting in the movie. If it does, please share your story, because I genuinely want to know and it needs to be talked about. But yeah, that's just the road it goes down, and it's like I'm sitting there like I was sitting there, fist clenched, like just people that do this, in my opinion, are the scum of the earth, because they pick people who they deliberately think are weak, and they pick people who they can easily beat up, that like they can easily beat emotionally and physically. They do this because they know that they can take advantage of their forgiveness, they can manipulate their emotions, they can just take advantage of them in a way that is easy for them to do, because if they're fucking sociopaths. I'm sorry, these people, like, I am a very empathetic person. I have no empathy, sympathy, or any care to understand any of these fucking assholes that do this. Because honest to God, and I'm getting angry, so I might say something to regret, but like, honestly, like, these people deserve only the worst, in my opinion. Because fucking hell, like, it does not get lower than this, in my opinion, because they are deliberately picking on people weaker than them, and that is so goddamn cowardly. It is cowardly, and it ruins people's lives. It ruins people's lives, and it's so hard for people to snap out of it and get out of there. It's so fucking hard. Especially when you try to reject them and then they actively threaten not only your life, but other people's lives. And they will go through any lengths to make your life a living hell because they cannot stand the thought of losing that control. It is fucking despicable. God fucking damn it. Sorry, I don't have a lot of jokes for this one, guys. This is a pretty serious conversation. God damn it. I just hate these kind of people so much. I hate predators. And I know predators often is a term reserved largely for child molesters, and yeah, it's still apropos there, but keep in mind, abusers pick their targets carefully. They fucking do. Because if they see a little too much pushback, they say okay, I can't manipulate this person, they'll move on to the other person they can manipulate. And they will be the nice guy until they have you trapped or you owe them something. When they get you to feel like they owe them something, that's when they know they have you. Because in that point, again, it's all about control and manipulation. There's a scene about halfway through the movie when, Jason Sudeikis' character is kind of drunkenly stomping around the park, not actually trying to hurt or kill anybody, just kind of dicking off. And Hathaway comes up. At this point, after realizing that being drunk can kill hundreds of people, she sobers up pretty fast, which I guess if you need an incentive. And she tries to pull Jason Sudeikis' character out of there, and which leads to a point where she slaps him, which in South Korea is shown as a giant monster bitch slapping a giant robot, which instantly becomes the internet meme because why the fuck wouldn't it? Which makes him more jealous because then he feels inferior to Anne Hathaway's character, which makes his desire to control her even stronger. So he does it again, except this time he's threatening he's just gonna fucking murder people because he wants to feel powerful, he wants to feel in control. So they have this short scuffle where Jason Sudeikis could very easily overpower her, but Anne Hathaway still bites the shit out of him anyway. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, and they have this big huge saying, and that's when she says, "I quit. I'm not working for your bar. You just stay the fuck out of my life." And he goes, "If you don't work for my bar, I will destroy your neighborhood tomorrow and the next day until you come back." And then at which point she goes back home, obviously traumatized, and trying to figure out what the fuck she's gonna do. And then cute guy comes over saying, "Oh hey, was it Connor or Oscar? I think it was Oscar." He goes, "Hey, Oscar felt really, really bad about what happened, and he wanted to apologize, and he brought you all this stuff for your house that you're renting right now." And it started off, it says it's this van full of furniture, and and again, this is a tactic people fucking do. I want to point this out. I have seen and heard this happening. It happened to a friend of mine recently, which I'm still fucking mad about, but I'm going to get to that in a bit. I'm not going to talk about that. That's a personal thing. But I will talk about the method that people use, because it's fucking despicable. I got to control myself here. So, and then obviously she's freaked out by this insane gesture, so she runs over to his house and what the fuck? And then again, I've seen this so many times, where she goes in there and he goes "I am so sorry, I'm a fuck up, I don't know what I was doing, it won't happen again, can we just go back to being friends?" And this is especially true for predators and abusers that target people who have suffered abuse or have been broken in some way, which is a very common target. People that come from bad homes, bad parents, or have suffered some form of either abuse from substances or loved ones or whatever are particularly susceptible to this, where she goes and goes "Okay, I've been there before, I fucked up when drunk, I'm willing to give you another chance." And again, I've seen people I care about take back complete assholes using the same exact method, where they will say, I'm never going to do that again. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Please forgive me. And they give you this big sob story. Many of them pull out tears, and they say, well, he seemed really sincere, so I think I'm going to give him another chance. And then, now this isn't in the movie. They jump to a much bigger extreme, which took me a while to get, but I thought it was actually pretty clever. I'll talk about that a bit too. Where they will follow through on their word for a bit. They will follow through on their word. They will change their attitude. They will act like they're getting better. They'll start treating you nicer, and just like until you get to that point, you go, okay, maybe this can work. Maybe we can actually make this happen. Maybe he really is changed. And slowly but surely, they will start putting in the same things that you hated to begin with back into the relationship until you are exactly where you started. And they will do this over and over and over again because they know they can take advantage of your forgiveness. This is a common tactic I have seen. It infuriates me every single time. And let me be clear, if you're watching this right now and any of this is something familiar to you, please get help. There are resources available. Hell, I might put a couple links in the comment here, because for the love of God, get out. Anyway, in the movie, on the other hand, things escalate rather quickly when Anna Hathaway's ex comes into town to get her, although he claims he's there for a meeting, and they go to Jason Sudeikis' bar, and Jason Sudeikis just loses his fucking mind. He grabs the biggest biggest fucking firecracker he can find in the back, lights it inside the bar, gives this big long speech like, what's the most irresponsible, and granted, it's a great performance by Jason Sudeikis, by the way. It's like, what's the most irresponsible thing you can do in a bar? And just lights up this big fuck off firecracker in the middle of the bar, lights the whole fucking thing on fire, and basically looks at Hathaway, is like, you can leave with him, but you're not going to. And I was like, what the fuck are you, what's up? And then I was like, oh, because he's showing that if you leave, I will destroy everything. And it's like, okay. Interesting way of going about proving that point. Or that he's not afraid to cause massive destruction. And by the way, I will give this movie credit in making stomping through a park seem horrifying. Just using sound and very simple motions. I thought that was very well done. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, although it did lead to one plot hole in the movie, which I was like, why didn't they just call him and have him arrested for arson? There was 5 witnesses there that can all corroborate this insane story. I feel like you could have easily solved this problem. But it does end in a satisfying way. I don't want to give it away too much, because I feel like I've already said too much already. But yeah, it's not, I won't call it 100% accurate, because it's hard to say without talking through people that have been through this experience before, but there are some disturbing similarities, and I do like how, like Swiss Army Man, this movie uses an absurd concept to get to a point that I personally believe is important, that is deeply personal for me, and does it well. Does it in a way that's relatable, that is infuriating, the way that's supposed to be infuriating, doesn't feel too forced. Like I said, Jason Sudeikis does kind of just go from 0 to 100 pretty fucking quickly. Which you can argue one way or another on how realistic that is. Either way, what's shown here, there's enough accurate here that was enough to really genuinely piss me off. In a way that's saying, okay, it's doing something right. And I was in a fairly crowded theater. This is like one of the smaller theaters here at this one of the smaller screens. And I was the youngest person there. I don't know how they responded to it compared to how I responded to it. But a lot of us kind of had the same thing. It was like, well, that was fucking intense. So yeah, I do highly recommend this movie. I do recommend tracking it down, and I'm glad I got a chance to see it before it left theaters. I don't know how this will rank when you get the top 10 list coming up. It's just for personal reasons might pop up on there. It's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, and but it makes the concept work very well. It is disturbing, and it is worth talking about. Whether you like the movie or you hate the movie, I think there's still interesting points to talk about. And now, I'm not saying I speak for every single person that's ever been through one of these relationships. I can't. Each one is different. I'm just speaking about the common threads that I've personally seen through the many friends I have known that have gone through this stuff. This is just my personal experiences that I am talking about. And I'll honestly, if you're watching this right now, you've been through what I've been talking about or have your own experiences, please do share them. Because I do really want to know. This is a topic I still don't know nearly enough about it as I want to. Because every time I see somebody going through this, I want to say, how can I help? This is the more cynical one. How can I convince you that you need help? Because on top of just being a horrible problem, it's hard to even recognize that it is a problem. It makes me very, very, very sad. Yeah. I mean, fuck. What else is there to say? Yeah, Colossal. There's a lot to fucking talk about. It's probably the best movie I've seen solo. And probably one of my favorite movies of the year so far. Just because, again, it can initiate a discussion. I love movies that do that, whether it's great, whether it's bad, whether it's something in between. If it does one thing well enough to bring a genuine discussion, kind of like how Get Out did, I'm always grateful for those experiences, even if they make me frustrated or make me angry. Because there's an educational value to that, I think. And especially with topics like these, whether it's, like me and Ron have talked all the times about like race, the topic of racism in America, and like stuff like different kinds of abuses. And this is what I love about film and the arts in general, is the fact that it can take an absurd way to drive home something that needs to be talked about. I love movies that do that. I love movies that aren't that. Like, what was another one that did? Oh, like Dear White People's another good one, where like that one used comedy to drive home a hard point. It's a BoJack Horseman uses comedy and cartoon to bring about harsh realities. That's what it boils down to. It's like, I love movies, and like I love creativeness that can take cartoonish concepts and use it to show about harsh realities. That's a hard skill to master, and anyone that can do it is worthy of admiration. And this is a movie that does that very well. Again, it's about Anne Hathaway as a monster that scratches her head awkwardly and dances at one point. And you use that to drive home the point about alcoholism and self-destructive tendencies and abuse and the nice guy syndrome. Now here's the point, before I close out, because I'm going to wrap this up soon because I'm running out of battery life. Here's the one point I want to drive home about nice guys. And I hate that term used to describe them because it doesn't do justice to people who are genuinely kind and giving for the sake of being kind and giving, or for being a good friend. Now, here's the thing. If you're in a friendship right now, and this is something I had with someone I used to call a friend a while back, is if you are doing nice things for somebody, like giving gifts, or doing all kinds of favors, or bending over backwards to please them, if you are doing that because you believe if you do enough nice things, you will get affection, or worse yet, that by doing that, you are owed that affection, you're part of the fucking problem. Because that is a fucking that's what a fucking scumbag abuser thinks. And again, I've seen this firsthand. And I have no pity for you. If you think that. You are not owed a single thing for being a good person. Your worth being a good person is you get to be a good person. And you get a good friend. If you are doing these things for any other reason than just being a good friend to this person, you are doing it for the wrong reasons, and you need to end the friendship right now. You need to just fucking stop. Because you're an asshole. You're a scumbag. And I'm not afraid to fucking say it. You want to tell me in the comments, go right the fuck ahead. I will argue with... No, I'm not even gonna waste my fucking time to argue with you. If you think this, fuck you. I'm sorry, this video got really fucking personal. But that's this is unfiltered thoughts, what I think it's kind of people. If you honestly believe you are owed any sort of affection for being nice, fuck you. Fuck you. Because you're the reason women are afraid. You're the reason, anyone is afraid to have a nice friend. You're the reason, you're part of the fucking problem. And fuck you. God fucking damn it. Yeah, I'm not even gonna go with trailers because I'm not gonna dilute my point. And for anyone out there who has ever had to go through this and have had people in their lives like this, I am sincerely sorry. You should not have to deal with that ever. You should never have to question why someone's being nice to you. You should never have to question why they are friends with you. You should never have to do that. And I'm so sorry that is a legitimate problem. There is nothing about it that's okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop there. This video got intense. So I think that's it for this review. I won't be back probably for the rest of the week because Grant's getting married. Speaking of relationships, this was a happy one though. Yeah, so Grant's getting married this week, so I will be attending his 3-day wedding for most of the week. So don't. I'll try to get something this weekend, probably on Sunday. But other than that, yeah. Colossal. It's heavy, man. Yeah. Go see it. I think I still gotta see The Circle next, but and maybe the Lost City of Z if I have time, but we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry things got a little intense this round. Again, it's a topic that is deeply personal for me. Not take it back. I'm not sorry that things got intense. 'Cause you know what? It's important. And that means that there's not as many jokes to review, so be it. It needs to be talked about, it needs to be listened to, it needs to be discussed. So I heavily encourage you, if you have any experiences of your own, or you just want to talk about it, please leave a comment. I highly recommend you do. Because again, there are a lot of jerks out there. Many of them pretending to be nice. Let's talk about it. Get it out there. Find support. Take advantage of resources. And everyone else, don't be a good person because you want to be owed something. Be a good person because being a good person is just the right thing to do. And I'm going to end it there. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.